All right, welcome. Today we're going to use Tinkercad, which is an online 3D web-based CAD program or computer-aided design software that allows us to design something for a 3D printer. So I am going to go over here to the intro page. If you've never been to Tinkercad before, it'll look like this. And you're going to start by going to sign in. So you already have an account built in with your school Gmail account, your Google account. So you can just click sign in with Google and that'll get you started. The first time you come here, you'll probably see a number of tutorials and there's lots of awesome features here in Tinkercad. We are going to create a new design. So when you create a new design, this is your basic setup here in Tinkercad. There's 3 parts to this screen. There is your work plane here in the middle. This is the biggest part. You have your objects over here, your list of lots of different shapes, and your ways to manipulate your environment or to move around your space over here with this box. Now I've been thinking about Thanksgiving, and one of the things that we might be able to 3D print would be a napkin holder. You may have seen some decorative napkin holders that are taken out for the holidays, and you put in those cloth napkins in a nice ring there. So we're looking for something like a ring, and I did see a couple of ring-like shapes. I saw a tube, I saw a torus, and I saw a ring which has kind of a beveled edge. Now those are all nice, but they are all also kind of defined, so you might want to just make your own. So let's decide to make our own with a cylinder. So I've got my cylinder shape. Now one of the first things that we did here is we tried to figure out exactly how big our napkin holders should be. So you might want to roll up one of those napkins that you're planning to use at home and take a look at what size ring you might want. Or if you have a napkin ring at home, you can use that to compare. I was looking around and I found some wire, so I decided to make something about the size that I'm looking for. And now I'm going to measure it. You can simply measure it with a ruler. I have a nice pair of calipers here, right here. These are digital calipers. So I'm going to turn them on, and the space that they open up to is on the screen right here. So it's pretty handy to use. So let me get started and see. I've got it set to millimeters. So I'm going to open it up and go across. I measured this with a napkin in our house, and I saw that it came up to close to about, it says 47 millimeters right here, 47 millimeters. So that's going to be the size that I keep in mind for my napkin holder. So that means I'm going to make a perfect circle here. So I want it to be 47 on the X and also 47 on the Y. So I've got my shape here. I am going to do a little bit of an experiment here. I'm going to see if 20 millimeters is the right height for me. Now, of course, that's a solid, so I'm going to need to cut this out. So I'm going to duplicate this. Click on that duplicate right there, or do Control D, and you'll see I've got another shape that's exactly the same dimensions. This one I'm going to make a hole. Now I'm going to use this as a way to cut out the interior, the inside of this to make kind of a ring. But you know what? I'm going to reduce those numbers down. So let's make it about 5 millimeters thick. So I'm going to go 42 by 42, and we'll see what that looks like. So I'm also going to make this a little bit taller. It's going to be easier to see. So take this middle square right here and bring that up to make this shape a little bit taller. And now bring it back in. So if you're looking at this, you want to definitely use this box tool and use your zoom features here on the screen or using your trackpad or your mouse to really look at this. You can see I don't think I have it exactly right. I've got too much over here. I've got not enough right there. So I really want to make sure I'm right in the middle of that. So the way I do that is by clicking somewhere off the objects, click and drag, make a square, and that's going to allow me to select everything here, these 2 shapes. And I'm going to use the Align tool right here. So click Align, and if I zoom out a little bit, you can see I've got some choices to make. I want it aligned on this axis and also on this axis, kind of the X and also the Y. That's going to put me right in the middle, and I can already tell from afar that that looks much better. So now I'm going to click and drag one more time, and I'm going to group them together. Aha, so now it's cut out. So this is more the shape that I was looking for, something that was flat on the outside and something that has a nice clean edge to it. So that's a little different than you can see with the torus. Might be a little bit more like the tube, but I was able to control the interior. Now you notice that when I measured this, I actually took the measurements of the outside of this, and now those are the outside, but there might be it might be a little bit too tight for it. So I can change that. That's one of the great things about 3D printing is it's what's called iterative. So I design something, I send it to the printer, I see the actual object, and guess what? Maybe it's not exactly what I'm looking for. So maybe I go back to my design and I add some changes. I make things a little different along the way. So there's that circular process or cyclical process where I go back to the drawing board, I print again, I go back to the drawing board, I print it again, and that might take multiple times before I get it exactly how I want it. All right, so this looks beautiful, except you know what? I kind of want to dress it up a little bit, make it a little fancy. This is supposed to be a special thing, and so I might want to add some decoration to it. These stars look great. I like how they're flat on one side. The hearts are great. There might be some other fun stuff at home that you might want to use, but let's start with these stars. So you'll notice that the star is shaped the wrong way. So first thing I need to do is turn it. So you can see here we have these curvy arrows. These are going to allow us to turn it. So I'm going to click on that, and I can click and drag, or I can just type in numbers. If you know your math, you know that I need to turn 90 degrees. So let's see what happens when I do that 90. That looks pretty good. And now I'm going to shrink it down a little bit and squish it this way a little bit. If I want to make it stay symmetrical in the same dimensions, then as I shrink, I want to hold down the Shift key. I also want to bring it up in space. So that's what this little cone object here is above. This is going to allow me to bring it up in space. All right, so that looks pretty good. I want to definitely make it a little bit smaller so it fits on my band. And bring it up again. And make it a little smaller. And I definitely want to get into the zoom feature here in just a moment. So you can see my star has a nice little turn to it, so that looks pretty nice. You want to take a look at those edges and make sure that it is all sticking in. I can make this a little bit deeper if I wanted to, so that way I was sure that it was really kind of stuck into my object. The way that would work is bring it in. But that looks pretty good. Use that zoom, use that turning feature, so that way you can really tell if it's connected, if it's making good contact, and it looks the way that you want. So I think that looks really nice. So I am going to group it one more time. Click and group, and click that button, and it's going to look like that. Now some people are complaining about that group feature, that now it looks kind of boring. First of all, you can change the color anytime you want, but you can also use this multicolor button to keep those different colors. So it's behaving as one object right now, even though it's still two different colors. So I am going to give it a name here, Napkin Holder. And remember our step to export it. If I want to actually send it to a 3D printer, I'm going to click Export as an STL. And I'm going to send it to my Downloads folder. So there it is. There's a little Thanksgiving decorative feature that you might add to your celebration for any holiday where you get a little fancier. You might break out those cloth napkins. Now you could have reusable 3D printed napkin holders to go with it. Think about initials, think about lettering, think about lots of design that you could add to this space right here the next time. All right, well, thank you, and make sure you send us some prints. Good luck.